Depth of the Quiet by Latina Sidorov. Chapter 1. The Moment the Distance Appears. Most parents can remember the exact moment, or the exact season, when something in their child's voice changed. It might have been a brief pause before they answered the phone, a new sharpness in their tone, a reluctance to share details, a subtle defensiveness you'd never heard before, a coldness that didn't make sense for the child you raised. Sometimes it was so small you almost ignored it. Sometimes it was so jarring you felt your stomach drop. But whatever the moment looked like for you, one truth rose quietly to the surface. Something is shifting, not in a normal growing up way, not in the way a child naturally seeks independence, not in the healthy separation that marks adulthood. This is a different kind of shift, one that feels like a door slowly closing while you're still standing on the inside. The slow fracture. Most parents don't see it first. The earliest signs of estrangement rarely announce themselves with drama. They whisper, they disguise themselves as stress, busy schedules, or just a phase. Parents often explain away what they sense because the alternative is unthinkable. Maybe they're overwhelmed. Maybe I caught them at a bad time. Maybe I'm imagining it, but you aren't imagining it. The human nervous system is exquisitely attuned to familiar emotional rhythms. You know your child's voice, their energy, their patterns. You raise them. Your body recognizes disconnection before your mind allows it. What you felt was real. The distance begins quietly, like a hairline cracking glass, barely visible at first, easy to overlook, but once pressure is applied, a disagreement, a misunderstanding, outside influence, the fracture widens, not because the foundation was weak, but because forces beyond your awareness were pressing against it. The moment you realized you were no longer seen clearly. For many parents, the true turning point isn't the first cold interaction. It is the moment your child begins responding to you, as if you are someone else. You speak with warmth, they respond with suspicion. You offer support, they interpret control. You ask a question, they hear criticism. It feels surreal, like you are suddenly living inside a funhouse mirror of your own relationship. This is the earliest sign that another narrative is beginning to take shape. Your child is no longer seeing you through the lens of shared history. They are seeing you through the lens of someone else's wounds, fears, or influence, or through a new identity they are trying to solidify. Their reactions stop matching your intentions. Their interpretations stop matching the moment. Their emotional responses stop matching the reality you're living. And you find yourself asking, what story are they responding to? Because it's not mine. The child you know and the version they now present. Estranged children often undergo a transformation that feels abrupt, but is often built quietly over time. Your warm, expressive child becomes clipped and distant. Your open child becomes guarded. Your affectionate child becomes irritable. Your trusting child becomes watchful. You feel like you are suddenly speaking to a stranger, one who treats you as though your past relationship was something darker or more harmful than the truth. This shift is not always caused by malicious intent. Sometimes it's influenced by a partner whose approval matters more than accuracy, a step-parent eager to establish a new family identity, an ex-partner who still carries resentment, a therapist who only heard one side, online groups that reward narratives of parental harm, a friend projecting their own trauma onto your relationship, the child's internal need for a story that explains their adult struggles. But regardless of the source, the impact is the same. Your child begins to interact with you as if you belong to a story you never lived. The emotional shock parents rarely talk about. No one prepares you for the moment your own child becomes emotionally unavailable. It's a kind of betrayal that has no name, because you and your child were supposed to be the one relationship that didn't fracture. You expect conflict, you expect misunderstandings, you expect growing pains, but you don't expect erasure. You don't expect to be rewritten. The first wave of distance hits with confusion. The second wave hits with fear. The third hits with a grief so profound you don't even know how to describe it. You begin to question everything: your parenting, your memory, your instincts, your worth. You look back at the little child you once held and wonder how the warmth between you could vanish so silently. You start apologizing for things that didn't happen, simply to try to hold the thread of connection. You start shrinking your presence so they won't feel intruded on. You start censoring your own personality. You start doubting the truth of your own memories. This is what estrangement does in its earliest stage. It destabilizes the parent's internal world, long before the child ever announces the distance. The first quiet, the space you don't want but cannot escape. There's a moment every parent of an estranged child faces when they realize, they're pulling away from me, and I can't stop it. That moment breaks something inside you. Not just because you are losing them, but because you realize they believe a version of you. That doesn't match the truth. The quiet that follows feels unnatural. A vacuum where your child's familiar presence used to live. You check your phone more often. You rehearse conversations that may never happen. You imagine what you should have said differently. You replay every memory that feels fragile now. You sit in a quiet you never chose. And yet this quiet is where the real story begins. Not the story your child is constructing, but the story of your survival. The invitation. This chapter offers you. This first chapter acknowledges something essential. You felt the shift long before you understood it. You sensed the distance. You recognized the unnatural change. Your intuition warned you that something deeper was happening. And you survived the first quiet. The quiet where fear and confusion mixed with love and desperation. As we continue through this book, you will come to understand what was happening beneath the surface. The psychological mechanisms, the influence of others, the way stories take shape, the forces that reshape childhood memories, and the emotional dynamics that create distance between a parent and their adult child. But before any of that, you needed to hear this. You are not imagining it. You are not overreacting. You are not the villain in your child's new narrative. You sense something real, and you have already survived more than you realize. This chapter marks the beginning of your clarity and the first step toward reclaiming the truth of who you are. If you like this content, please like and subscribe to Depth of the Quiet. You can listen quietly at 2 a.m. when your thoughts are overwhelming you, and you may come back anytime you need support. If you want to feel heard, you are welcome to leave a comment or tell me your story in the comments below. This could help other parents that are feeling like they are traveling this road all alone like so many of us do, until we found channels like this one. We all need support on those hard days when the loss hits harder. Start a discussion or ask a question if you feel safe doing so. No pressure to interact. Just heal at your pace, and you are welcome to watch whenever you need to. You are always welcome here. Also, if you like this content, you may purchase the full book, Depth of the Quiet by Latina Sidoroff, available in paperback and Kindle version from Amazon.com. And for all the spouses supporting the estranged parent, there's a great book written by the husband of Latina Sidoroff on the spouse's perspective called Standing Beside the Broken, also available from Amazon. The author is Stas Sidoroff. Thank you for watching this video.